everyone, it's Carly and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing some fall slash spooky slash Halloween reads for you guys. Since it's the month of October, I figured I would do this video to give you guys some recommendations and just to take an insight of what I like to read during this time of year. I tend to read a lot of paranormal books around this time, but for fall specifically, I do like to read a bit of like historical fiction and some fantasy and of course thrillers and mystery and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to show you guys the books that I would recommend during this time of year. There's no specific order to this, but I think I'm just going to start off with a couple of historical fictions that I would recommend to you guys for this season. So the first book I have to recommend for you guys is The Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse. I actually read this in the beginning of this year, so I finished it in January, and oh my gosh, it is so good. This story takes place in 1943 Amsterdam during World War II, and it's about a girl who works for the black market, and she one day goes to one of her customers, and one of her customers wants her to help her find this missing Jewish girl who was last seen in a blue coat. And of course this is a historical fiction book, but it's also a bit of mystery aspect to it, which I found really interesting because they're trying to find this Jewish girl and they're looking for like all these clues. It's just so good. If you're not into historical fiction, it doesn't really talk about the war or anything. That's just where the setting is. But it mostly just talks about this girl. I think you pronounce it Hanneke, H-A-N-N-E-K-E. So I'm not sure what the pronunciation is that. I am actually Dutch. I am a quarter Dutch. My Nana grew up in Holland and she came over to Canada when she was 11. So that's another reason why I love this book, is because it reminds me of my own heritage and something that my Nana actually had to grow up in. And it's crazy to think that. I definitely recommend this book if you're looking for a historical mystery. It's definitely a history mystery sort of book, so if that's what you're into, then I would definitely recommend this. I do only have one more historical fiction on this list to show you guys. This is a lot of people's favorites. I'm so sorry, the sun just like hid behind a bunch of trees and now the lighting is actually, it kind of looks a bit better, but that's why the lighting changed. But anyways, this book everybody, I'm pretty sure, has read if you have read historical fiction or enjoy reading historical fiction, and that is The Book Thief by Markus Zusak. I love this book. I read this only 3 years ago, and I saw that Haley from Haley and Bookland was reading this. Or no, sorry, she wasn't reading it at the time. She was recommending it. And I decided to pick it up because the synopsis sounded so good. It's about a girl named Liesel, and she gets taken in by I think it's a German family, I think. And I read this a while ago, so I'm kind of blanking on, yeah, she's in like a foster family, and that foster family hides a Jewish person in their basement. And this takes place, yeah, it takes place in Germany and during World War II, so I can only imagine what kind of things people went through and the feelings that they had going through something like this. This story is fiction, but it's so hard-hitting to see if something like this actually happened during this time, how people actually survived this. Like, this is insane to think like that. But the good thing that I find about this book is that it is actually narrated by death, which is so cool from seeing that perspective, especially from this time period. Oh my goodness, it is so good. I definitely recommend this. It is a bit of a bigger book for historical fiction. I believe it's over 500 pages, almost 550 pages, so it is quite a big book, but it is so good. I definitely recommend this book. If you have not picked it up yet, you definitely should. I actually just realized that I only put one thriller book on this list. I haven't read that many thrillers, but this is the one that I picked that I thought would suit best for this time of year. Plus, this is my favorite one that I've read so far. As I said, I haven't read a lot, but this is probably the one that I would recommend to anybody for picking up a thriller. Even this author, I love this author. But anyways, that book is The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware. Ruth Ware is honestly one of my favorite authors. Like, I will literally read anything by her now. I love her writing. I love her storylines. It is so good. I am currently actually reading In a Dark Dark Wood by her, and I literally cannot put that book down. It is so good. And this one was really good too. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars, I believe, when I read it. And I read it this year over vacation in Mexico. And yeah, I could not put this down either. It was so hard to read on vacation because all you want to do stuff, right? But when it came to relaxation time on my vacation, I just picked this up right away, even before bed. I finished it on vacation, I think, anyways. Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't, because I have a reading vlog where I read this after when I came back. But if you want to see me read this book and know my thoughts, I will leave that reading vlog down below for you guys, so you guys can go and check that out. But nonetheless, this is about a girl named Flo, and she is a writer, and she got assigned to this journaling job to go aboard this ship. I forget what the ship's called, but ship Aurora, and she basically has to kind of see what it's like on that boat. And there's only 10 cabins, there's only 10 rooms on that boat, so it's a very small boat. And one night when she's there, I think it's the first night that she's there, that she hears a scream and then a splash, and she tries to get into it, and she hears it in the room next to her. And so she goes and trying to figures out what's happening, and she walks in the room and there's blood, and she has no idea what happened. And when she tries to tell people what she heard, everyone does not believe her. So she's wondering if that was just her imagination or if it was actually true, and no one really believes her. This book is so good. It will keep you on your toes, although I was a little bit bored kind of in the middle of it, which is weird to say for a thriller, but I don't know, I just found it a little bit boring at some parts, but that's why I didn't give it a full 5 stars. But nonetheless, I would still recommend this for a really, really good thriller, and definitely recommend Ruth Ware for an author to read. The next 2 books that I am going to be showing you guys are middle grade books. I love middle grade. Every time I say that, everyone's like, really? You read middle grade? But because I'm 24 years old, so I mean, you would think that a 24-year-old wouldn't read middle grade, but some of the books are really good, and I'm interested in a lot of them. But anyways, the book that I'm going to show you next is City of Ghosts by Victoria Schwab. This is actually my first Victoria Schwab book that I ever read. I read it this year. I also annotated it, and I literally read it in one day. It was that good. This book is about a girl named Cassidy Blake, and she actually drowned one day and she died, and then she came back to life. And ever since then, she has the ability to see ghosts and see to the other side. What's interesting about this as well is that her parents are hosts of this TV show where they are like ghost hunters, and it is so, so cool. I love it. This book, I believe, takes place in, I want to say, Scotland. It takes place in Scotland. I knew it was like England or something like that, but this book takes place in Scotland, and it is so, so good. Yeah, it's middle grade, but I mean, it's Victoria Schwab. I definitely have to pick up more Victoria Schwab in the future for sure. I do own a couple of her books, so definitely have to make that a priority for sure. But nonetheless, this book is so good. It is so cute. As I said, I read this in one day, so I flew through it. It was so good. I could not put it down. And I'm really excited to pick up the next book, which is Tunnel of Bones, which if you haven't seen yet, I mentioned that in my Halloween/spooky TBR, so I will leave a link down below for you guys to go and check that out to see what books I am reading this month. But anyways, this book is so good. Definitely recommend it. You need to read it. And the next middle grade that I want to recommend to you guys is Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I'm pretty sure a lot of people know what this book is about. If you don't know, this is about a book. This is about a girl named Coraline who moves into this new house. I think it's more of like an apartment, like a big house apartment, I guess. And she moves in there with her family, and she discovers a door that leads to a whole other world, and it's kind of like the other world almost. So she meets like her other mother, her other dad, her other friend, her other, I believe the cat. Oh no, the cat's the same. The cat stays the same, but the cat stays with her. But yeah, she discovers that whole other world, and Coraline's life is not as she wants it to be. She wants her parents to pay more attention to her and all that. But when she goes to the other world to go and see her other mother and other father, they have so much love for her and they love her and she loves that attention. So she keeps going back, and of course some things happen. But the thing is about the other family is that they have button eyes. So that's really creepy. I know that creeps a lot of people out, but honestly, it doesn't creep me out. I remember watching the movie when I was younger and I absolutely loved it. And I actually just read this book last year for the first time. And again, I loved it so much and I kind of want to pick it up again, but I already have so many books that I want to read that it is a struggle. But yeah, anyways, if you have not picked up Coraline, you need to for sure, because you are missing out on this wonderful classic. The next book that I have to recommend to you guys is a bit of an older book, I believe. I read this a couple years ago and I loved it. Again, I saw Haley from Haley and Bookland mention this book and I immediately had to pick it up, and that is A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. This book is really, really good, but it is really sad. It's about a boy and his mom has cancer, and so he has this friend that's a monster, and he comes and visits this little boy every single night and tells him stories, and it is such a beautiful story actually. And the illustrations in this book, I'll show you. The illustrations in this book is so good. The illustrator is actually Jim Kay, who also illustrates the Harry Potter illustrated editions, so he is an amazing writer, amazing illustrator, and yeah, they're just so gorgeous. But the story is beautiful as well. So yeah, I definitely recommend this book. It's not scary, but just the whole black and white and the whole monster gig, it is such a good story to read around this time of the year, in my opinion. Like, look at that. That is gorgeous. That is so pretty. It's a bit more sad than I thought it would have been, but nonetheless, it was still beautiful, and I definitely recommend this for the fall time. The last book that I have to show you guys in this video is actually probably my favorite book out of this whole pile. Even more than The Book Thief and even more than The Girl in the Blue Coat. But that book is The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. Oh my goodness, you guys. I love this book. This book is so good. It's about a girl named Penny, yes. Penny, and she is 17 years old, and she lives in this town. She lives in a town called Sparrow, and this town is supposed to be cursed. Years ago in 1822, there were these sisters, the Swan sisters, and they believe that they are witches, and everyone else believed that they were witches, and their punishment was to be drowned with rocks tied to their feet and thrown in the ocean and to die. So years later, when this curse is still known to this day because everyone celebrates it, but it is supposed to be said that these witches come back and they go into, I forget what the word's called, but like they go into male bodies and basically go in the ocean or lake or river or whatever it is and drown them, and they kill 3 boys. And yeah, it is very creepy, and honestly, I love the writing. I loved the plot and the plot twist. Holy moly, I did not see that coming. If you have read this book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I literally did not see that coming. It was so good, and I love witch books so much. I'm surprised I don't have any more on here. Probably because I don't really know too many, but after reading this, I am in love with reading witch stories and witch books for Halloween. It is so good, and I actually read this last year during this time, so perfect time to read it in my opinion. But anyways, I definitely recommend this. Alright, these are the books that I recommend for you guys to read during this time of year. If you have read any of these, let me know down below, and if you're interested in reading any of these, also let me know down below. But yeah, anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will leave a link down below to all of my handles so you can go and follow me on my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Goodreads. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can see more bookish content from me, and I will talk to you guys in my next one. Bye.